Hey guys, it's Rush. Hope we're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. This video today, I'm talking about Ken changes, but I am not the culprit, the criminal that is requesting buffs or changes to Ken. Actually, I should ban that word from this video. I don't want to say buffs, because if I say buffs, then I will get flames. But every time I do these videos, every time there's a patch, there's an update, there's a new season, and I talk about what I would like change for Ken, I try and go down like the minor improvements or quality of life changes. But the internet reads them as buffs. Sometimes it does say buffs in the thumbnail. Guilty. And yeah, people don't like it because they're not Ken players. They don't like Ken. They're not like Ken in Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6. So they don't like these types of videos. So you, the viewers, have given me your insight into what you want to see change for Ken with this mini patch that's coming. So it's not the end of season or the new season patch. This is a mini patch that happens on the 17th of March. So you are to blame. If anyone's getting flamed, it's you, not me. So I'll go straight in. There's no particular order from the comments that were added to the community post, but we'll go through each one by one and discuss. So the first one comes from East Coast Gamer, and this is funny. So what they said is a good one, but they've mentioned buff. Now the first one literally says buff in it. So it says a slight damage buff would be enjoyed. And that's a good point. I agree. I think everyone agrees on this point is Ken's damage. He has some situationally high damage. For example, if he does the double OD gym right into level 2, his level 2 does lead to a lot of damage in most situations. But overall, like if you're going for like a kill combo or a CA full spend, it's nowhere near like the damage other characters are doing. And I'm not just going to say Ryu, there's other characters in the game that do mad damage with a full drive spend and Super Art 3 or CA. Ken doesn't have damage like that. Again, it's very situational, his damage. So it's a valid point. And I think rather than saying, let's up the damage on this, let's up the damage on that. And this ties into a few of the other comments that you guys have shared and reported back on the community post. I think it's situations. It's giving Ken more utility and more options in situations which will up his damage. But there'll be some examples with the later comments. So that's a fair and justified, I'm going to say, buff. So the second comment comes from Bradley Rock, and they've said, make light or heavy Dragon Lash an overhead. Crouching blocks shouldn't stop it. The move literally comes out at you from an overhead. This is a spicy one. So Ken doesn't have an overhead outside of, it's run, well, not step kick, it's run overhead. He has the overhead when you do run, and you can feint it. You can do run, stop. That's kind of like a feint. But run overhead is a commitment. That's the only way he can do it. He doesn't have a drive rush into overhead like a normal he can go into from drive rush. He doesn't have that. With this, so this is my opinion. So with heavy Dragon Lash specifically, if you try and check it with a crouching button, you do lose. You'll get punish counted because your crouching button doesn't actually check it. So it kind of, I'm not saying it's an overhead, but it will, the Dragon Lash does crush low attacks. So if you do like a crouching medium kick and someone just chucks out heavy Dragon Lash, you're going to get counted or punish counted. So that is a thing. I think if you were to make it an overhead, then it would have to be medium. And the reason I say that is because if you're throwing out medium, it's -8 on block. I think it's -8, so it's heavily minus, very punishable. So there has to be some risk reward, I feel. So light Dragon Lash is -4, if I could recall correctly. It's very fast, so it's like completely unreactable. So that would be probably too strong. Heavy Dragon Lash, you could argue maybe even heavy Dragon Lash if you made that blow up crouching, because it's very slow and it's once you've labbed it, it's very checkable if you're looking for it. So yeah, maybe heavy is a good suggestion as well. It's an interesting point. I never really considered that, but I think it's an interesting point. What I would like to see with Dragon Lash is maybe if Dragon Lash had some ability to go over fireballs or just, you know, counter fireballs. I would prefer to see that. But this is an interesting take. It's a very, very, very interesting point. Not considered it. Jack Suwan Pradit. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher these names. This isn't actually like the YouTube name. It's like the account that sits behind it, the way these comments show. So I'm going to call you Jack. Hello, Jack. Hope you're well. Jack has said, this is probably the most significant request on here. I want an official He-Man costume, and I feel that's justified. Given the fact that Street Fighter 6 is so content scarce, Ken has He has a costume 3, there's no costume 4. I think this is completely justified, and I think it would transform Ken in the next patch / season. So Capcom, please give us the He-Man costume. So Manuel has left a comment. This one's a really good one because this ties into the damage buff. They have said, I wouldn't mind seeing Like It Tatsu, the 2 hits, being able to juggle into EX Tatsu or EX Jinrai. Up Ken's combo potential of EX moves overall. So I like this because I've said in my previous videos, I want Ken to have more options, and through the options, it can up damage. Give an example. So I said crouching heavy punch into heavy Jinrai kick. So when they go into the juggle state, just heavy Jinrai in general. When you do the oldie Dragon Lash, I've said I'd like to get a run DP after that. So that's not tweaking the numbers in terms of damage. That's tweaking the combo ender after the situation, and that would up his damage significantly. The way they do that, the only way they could do that is if they make the bounce on the oldie Dragon Lash higher, because you don't want to buff run DP anymore because it's already got some buffs. I would like to see that. I think I've also said like punish counter stand light kick into run DP would be nice as well, but the only way to make that work would be to make the startup of run DP faster. So with this, you have got to look at the numbers, the frame data. So at the moment, if you do 2 hits Like It Tatsu, you can only get a 5-frame startup move, a 6-frame, 7-frame startup move. So the heavy DP, the level 3, going straight into level 3, that's 7-frame startup, or even Ken's Super Art 1. It doesn't work, it drops. If you want to go into level 3, you'd have to do a light punch DP after the Like It Tatsu 2 hits and cancel that into level 3, but then you get the non-animation version of level 3. If you upped the combo potential of Like It Tatsu 2 hits to 7 frames, you have to think of what you've done here. So if you can get a 7-frame follow-up from Like It Tatsu 2 hits, you can then get a Super Art 1. That's really good. You can go directly into level 3 Super, which is, again, really good. You get a good damage combo ender there. If you did allow up to a 9-frame follow-up move after Like It Tatsu, which is kind of mad, that allows you to do EX Tatsu. EX Tatsu does more damage than EX DP. Ulki's not, well, I think the Ulki's not great for both, but that would be more damage, more corner carry, and being able to get a Super Art 1, a Super Art 3/CA, and a heavy DP. I think that's a really, really good change. So it doesn't change the numbers in terms of his move damage going up, but it will give you more combo potential in those scenarios, up in his options and damage. That's a really, really good suggestion. So Vegan Bites has not really given any feedback about Street Fighter 6 Ken, but what they've done is provided feedback about Ken overall and Street Fighter overall. So they said, Ken is just a shadow of his Street Fighter 5 self. I want to see Street Fighter 7 soon and make it so that you can choose any variants of character throughout the years. Example, have Street Fighter 6 Ryu versus Street Fighter 5 Ken. Very interesting point. I feel like nobody wants to see Street Fighter 6 Ryu ever again in any other game. So the reality is Street Fighter 7 isn't coming anytime soon because I think Street Fighter 6 has quite a long lifespan and we're probably about halfway through right now. So it's a way off. Not saying that Capcom aren't developing it and working on it, but yeah, nothing. We won't see much about it just yet, I don't feel. But I do like this take. So my perspective on this is and this is interesting because I've thought about this and I think I mentioned it in a video, but there's high expectation that a Capcom versus SNK / SVC Chaos 2 is coming out because of the collaboration and the similarities between City of the Wolves, Fatal Fury, and Street Fighter 6. My theory is because in that game you've got groove systems. Well, in the previous one you had groove. So Capcom versus SNK 2, you had groove systems. So you had 3 systems for Street Fighter / Capcom and 3 systems for SNK. And if you look at the last 3 Street Fighter games, you've got Street Fighter 4, you've got Street Fighter 5, and Street Fighter 6. This could be an opportunity for them to implement that and have different variants of the characters from Capcom that make it into that game. So that's my theory. I don't think it will happen because I think having 3 variants per franchise, per company, 6 variants, 6 versions of the characters with the level of mechanics that you have in. So think about Street Fighter 6, there's lots of mechanics. Street Fighter 5, there's not a lot of mechanics, but there's a lot. When you think about the V system, it has a lot of functionality. So the game would just be like nuts because you're going to have a big roster because generally you do have big rosters in these crossover games. Then you have very in-depth systems per variant for each franchise / company. It'll be a lot, but it could. I mean, if they pull it off and you have all that variance, all of that customizability when it comes to selecting your character and your team and using them, if they did it, like, it would be amazing. There would be so much on offer for players. And, you know, people complain about, oh, I like 4, I like 5, I like 6, this game's trash. In that game, you'd have so much ability to customize your roster, your characters in a way that suits you. And you can play against people that are using different systems. So maybe, I don't know, I'm just kind of waffling now, but that would be an amazing game and opportunity. And that ties into this comment, I feel. So that's my take on that one. This comment from Nahan6241 has said, make run Shakenetsu Hadouken for the funny. I have no idea what it is. Bear with me a second. What is Shakunetsu Hadouken? So the AI has said, Scorching Heat Surge Fist is a flaming multi-hit variant of the standard Hadouken projectile in the Street Fighter series. Okay, I should have known that, my bad. So Ken actually had this, if you think about it, in Street Fighter 5, where when he went to V-Trigger, his fireball was on fire and it would cause a knockdown. So it created very limited combo potential with the regular one, but you got juggles, not a hard knockdown, but you got a knockdown with the EX Fireball and V-Trigger 1, giving you combos, mad combos, even mid-screen towards the end of Street Fighter 5. So, yeah, I don't know how they would implement that. It feels like more of a Ryu thing when it comes to Street Fighter 6.
Honestly, I think Ken is in a really good spot as of right now. What I would like to see is them making Jinrai juggling on the Connor more consistent, kind of how they fixed VT2 juggles into LK Tatsu, and he'd go into great territory again. He's very solid, but dropping those combos all the time is very annoying. I don't think his level 2 buff really matters, so they reverted it back to 14, it would also be fine, but with this patch I feel like we're probably going to see damage scaling changes maybe make. Some roots do extra damage, and some common one do less, but his overall game is staying the same as he's already good enough but not crazy since power creep exists.
Yeah, that took a long time to read that. So, and I don't have my glasses on, so I was squinting. So Jimmy has provided an essay, but it's I'm memeing somewhat. But yeah, I hear what's been said here. So for me personally, I think the SA2 change, I actually think it's really good. I like the freedom of throwing it out in situations. I'm not just throwing it out randomly, where I can really turn the momentum of a match. I can attack the drive gauge safely. The logic, I think, for why it's weird that it's -5 and you can't punish it. That's what's very strange about Ken's Super Art 2. Why is it even -5? It may as well be -2. It creates a really weird scenario when they block it, but the fact that it has no invincibility, I think, is why it's safe. And it's funny that it was paired the same. It happened the same time as the Odi Jinrai kick changes. So I think Capcom wanted us to use level 2 more with Odi Jinrai kicks, which is how we often use it as a hit confirm or just to attack drive bar. I'm not too bothered about that change. The Jinrai juggles in the corner are annoying. I have to say it's very frustrating, especially where they are the optimal combo routes. But what I will say is if I don't feel confident, or if it's really critical for me to land my combo, and I had to word this, if it's really critical for me to land my combo and say it's a kill situation and I don't need to be optimal, I won't go for the Jinrai juggles in those scenarios because it's not worth the risk. You can go for other combo routes. But this kind of ties into the previous comment about changing Ken's combo routing off Like It Tatsu 2 hits. If you could go into Like It Tatsu 2 hits in the corner and go into Super Art 3 or EX Tatsu, Odi Tatsu, I don't think that's that important, but being able to go into level 3 specifically and heavy DP would be a really good change. And that would again make the Jinrai routes, the juggles, not as important here. So this comment comes from Jahan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, has said a very important statement within this video. I miss EX Tatsu. I don't know where you think EX Tatsu went. It is there. My only assumption is you're talking about Air EX Tatsu from Street Fighter 5. The Chocolate Champ has provided feedback, and they've said, give him back his regular flaming uppercut and make the run one look more dramatic. I'm not against this. So I don't like the heavy DP has no fire on it. And this must be a Ken thing, right? Because other players of other characters will probably read this and think, yo, those Ken players, they need help. But I don't know, seeing Ken with no fire on his fist on heavy DP, it reminds me of Street Fighter 2, the original Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, because in that one, if I remember, he didn't have fire on his fist. I think as Street Fighter 2 progressed, Super Street Fighter 2, maybe it was Super Street Fighter 2, where he got the flaming fist, but he also flew a lot further across the screen. It was very similar to Street Fighter 5, Ken's heavy DP. It does make a difference, in my opinion. And it's having the flames on it would make it more dramatic, make it cooler looking. I don't know. I think Run DP looks cool as it is. I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion. But maybe what they did in Street Fighter 5 is really weird. A weird change they made, and they made the hits on the second hit of heavy DP. They made it pause a bit more, and you could actually hear the sounds. Like normally it would go like doof doof doof, but then it changed to like doof. Like it was doof doof doof. Like there was like a delay between that second and third hit. That made it seem more impactful. Maybe I could change in sound effects as well, perhaps. But the Run DP, I think the Run DP, when it hits it, it's very satisfying. So Hold ATS has said, quality of life, EX moves connect at max distance, so things stop randomly dropping, revert nerfs, give Dragon Lash a feint follow-up, make the medium version an actual overhead. Okay, we've touched on that. Even with plus on block normal, OD Tatsu should get a follow-up. Heavy Tatsu should also have follow-up instead of knocking down like medium and light Tatsu. I miss his feints. We should be able to feint the run overhead too. Interesting, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. So EX moves connect at max distance. So I've not seen this. There's some scenarios where I've seen, so give you an example, OD Jinrai into the overhead follow-up. Sometimes the overhead follow-up can whiff, but that's more like very specific juggle situations. But I don't think I've seen anything whiff. I mean, if it whiffs, it's because the juggle is a really tough one. Like, for example, the OD Jinrai into the heavy kick follow-up and then the OD Tatsu afterwards. That's a tough one to land. It's very specific when you get that. Revert nerfs it's too wide of a point to discuss because so many nerfs Ken has had. So I think if you reverted them all, like people would not be happy, and I think Ken would probably be busted then. He has had some quality of life changes since season 1 to his OD Dragon Lash made a bit faster, or it gives you more juggle potential, and Run DP made faster as well. Give Dragon Lash a feint. That's crazy. Like that's some see the wall stuff. I don't know where to go with that one, but that's a crazy take. But okay, it is there. It exists in this comment. Make medium version actual overhead. We touched on that. Medium. I think it's an overhead risk reward because it's -8 on block. You can't just throw it out willy nilly. But if there's a situation to use it, perhaps, I don't know. I think heavy Dragon Lash would be better, me personally, because it's so checkable if you're looking for it. But yeah, medium perhaps as well. Plus on block normal. So the thing with Street Fighter 6 is, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of characters with plus on block normals. I feel like it'd have to be like +1 just to give him maybe some lights afterwards, but then the risk of being perfect parried. No, you wouldn't get perfect parried if you're +1, would you? But you wouldn't get a throw mix as well. I don't know how you'd implement that. I mean, the only move I could think of doing that too would be his crouch and medium punch. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't. Perhaps. Not sure. I mean, the one good thing about that is if you get a counter hit, well, it's on block, isn't it? So it doesn't make a difference. But I would like to see crouch and medium punch counter hit go into crouch and medium punch. That'd be a nice. Yeah, so maybe some crouch and medium punch buffs in general would be kind of cool. But yeah, just spitballing here. OD Tatsu should get a follow-up. I like this idea. I do, but I think this would actually like make him. It would make his combo routing really cool, but I think it could potentially make him like too strong. Not too strong. You don't use OD Tatsu too much, but you could go into some crazy combo routes here. So I imagine for the most part you'd get like a 7 frame here, so a heavy DP, but that would mean you'd also get a Super Art 1, Super Art 3. So if you were going to a combo route into OD Tatsu, it bounces them off the ground, you get a ground bounce, and you can get a 7-frame startup move, you're going to get a level 3 after that. So I think it's really cool, and I'd love to see that. But I think that would be like super busted in terms of situational damage. You'd be doing some mad damage then in those situations. But I do like that. Heavy Tatsu should get a follow-up. See, I think it should be medium Tatsu. I think medium, because heavy Tatsu is the corner carry one. I think medium Tatsu should get a follow-up. I think maybe if you have to commit to maybe like in Street Fighter 5, like an EX DP, their OD DP, for example, or a level 2. So again, you go medium Tatsu, you get a juggle, but you're restricted to certain follow-ups only. I think that would be quite a cool change. Misses feints. See, for me, run stop is the overhead and step kick feint, in my opinion. It works quite similar to Street Fighter 5. But my argument against that is run stop has loads of recovery, and I've mentioned that before in the videos. I don't like how much recovery it's got. So De Niro has said level 3 getting after like it Tatsu juggle. I like that. I do like this more follow-ups after like it Tatsu 2 hits. I really like that. I'd rather have invincible level 2 instead of safe on block. That's a tough one, because I would love that change too. Because if I had level 2 invincible, it's 6-frame startup, has lots of range. I would be using that to blow up fireballs. If someone threw a bad fireball, I'll be level 2 in it every single day. But I do like the level 2 safe on block change as well. I've started to really use it a lot in my gameplay. It's really fun to use it. So that's a tough one. If it would be broken, if Ken had like a invincible level 1, invincible level 1, then the safe on block level 2, and then level 3 as it is, that would be so good. But level 2, yeah, that's a tough one. It's like, I love this, don't make me choose type thing. But yeah, that's an interesting take. Minor damage, yeah. So the fact that everyone has corner carry, majority of characters have corner carry now in this game. Ken's is still definitely like one of the better characters with corner carry, but a lot of characters have corner carry. So our Batcher has said damage buff, OD air Tatsu buff, Chin Buster second, like in season 1. So I think the reason why they changed Chin Buster is because they tried to normalize it. Or did they change Kimberly's medium? I can't remember. But now Ken's target combo, punch target combo is the same as Kim's. I don't know if it's similar to Marissa's, but I do miss the season 1, like having the frame trap baked in, making it more hit confirmable. Maybe there must be a middle ground to make it a bit more hit confirmable. Maybe like a very tight window for the frame trap, but not have, because I think it was like a 20 frame confirm season 1, so it's super easy to confirm. Maybe there's a middle ground between the two there. Air Tatsu buff. I don't know how you'd buff OD Air Tatsu. I definitely don't use that move. I don't think I use it at all, in all honesty, which is a shame. But yeah, I think having more utility. The only place I can really think of using it myself and where I would implement it is air to air, jump medium, and then cancelling into the OD Air Tatsu. But I barely use it, in all honesty. But yeah, I don't know what you'd change to that, but yeah, some changes would be cool. And damage buff again. It's common. So the recurring theme is damage buff for Ken. So again, more opportunity for higher damage in situations. Tatsu152_, probably not your name, but that's what's showing up on the comment itself. Small nerfs across the board. So that's for the entire cast, I think. I think all the major nerfs every other character should get. Well, yeah. So this is something I've seen a lot of people say. Leave Ken as he is, but then bring the rest of the cast sort of down, not all of them, but certain characters down a little bit. We know the main offenders. Do that, and then Ken would be able to compete a bit more. I do like this idea, but the thing with me is I want to see some changes to Ken. And I'm not saying changes that buff him significantly. I want to see his gameplay and his options change a bit more, because it makes the character more interesting going into a new patch and a new season. So 99 No has said, assuming not big changes, like giving him command normals like everybody else. They mentioned about, like, yeah, long shot, but I wish some of his more forgotten specials got a bit more utility, like OD Tatsu getting anti-air properties, OD Dragon Lash being safe from block, if not outright plus. In general, I like it if his combos were given a bit more oomph, as he really feels lacking in a niche compared to the other Shotos and adjacent characters. So I agree, yeah, I do want to see Ken have more, and by giving him more in his combo routine and his juggles, there's potential damage to go up. He's not going to get command. I doubt he'll get a command normal overhead, for example. I mean, he might do. Like, imagine like a drive rush back medium kick like he had in, well, the back medium kick in Street Fighter 5. He had that option. Old Tatsu been an anti. I mean, you could anti-air with EX Tatsu in Street Fighter 5, but it traded if they pressed a button. It was more like a catch them if they're at range. You can do it in Street Fighter 6. The problem with Street Fighter 6 is you can use it in that way, but it costs a lot of meat. Like, you spending 2 bars can put you in a really bad situation for very little damage. I think that's why people don't really do it. But maybe not an anti-air, but I think bolting it onto more combos would be the way to go, like the Like It Tatsu 2 hits. OD Dragon Lash being safer on block. I think that's a good suggestion. Like, in See the Wolves, Awu, it is actually a plus on block. It's a way to like a get-in tool. So maybe like -3, perhaps. So it's safe at least. So this comment from Moembol's Main. Sorry, I've killed your name. I apologize. They've said, make my boy great again, man. You have to see Ken versus Ryu just now. It's insane how nerf Ken is and Ryu just broken. I never see so much difference. I think a little bit more damage for Ken. Sorry, I'm reading it literally word for word. It's not going too well. A little more damage for Ken combos and better safe moves, but I will just be happy if they nerf Ryu. XD, shout outs to Andy Walker. It's giving me nightmares fighting him now. Yes, so I think this more highlights the state of Ryu. Ryu's a hot mess. Like, he's a character, from my perspective, that can throw things out just willy-nilly. He can do combos on block, can do mad damage, and he can just put you in uncomfortable situations with Hashigeki. He's overtuned, and he's overtuned to the point, like, his character design doesn't make any sense. I will give Ryu mains benefit of the doubt. If you're trying to play him solid and you're trying to play footsies and neutral, he can be difficult to use because he doesn't, like, if you look at Ken, for example, Ken has Dragon Lash. I'm not saying this is like how to play him, but Dragon Lash to get in, he has run DP, he has run for movement, he has run step kick. Ken's always had ways, more recently in the like Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6, he's had ways to like get in on the opponent and rush at them. There is a risk to it, but he can rush in. Ryu doesn't really have that. The only move he really has that does that, I feel, is it's Donkey Kick. Donkey Kick is his throw out and I don't care move. And that, again, on block, it creates a number of, like, if certain characters can't deal with Donkey Kick on block, they get their turn stealed back. It's a mess. So, yes, I think Ryu needs some, what's the word? He doesn't need toning down. He needs fixing. He's just a big mess right now. And Ken, I think if he has these combo route changes, his damage will go up. It won't break the character. That's a good way to go. So Bushel has left a comment saying about make it easier to combo with light DP. So the only scenario I can think of there is like where you get juggles. So like if you get a non-animation level 3, you get a light DP, then a medium DP or an OD DP. So I assume that's kind of the scenarios they're talking about. You've got the double DP after the heavy Jinrai juggle, heavy Jinrai low kick, light DP, light DP. That's a very tight link. Cool combo route though. Meterless. Make medium Tatsu have more juggle potential as well as less recovery, so combos a bit are easier. I don't think Ken has any. I know there's one combo of medium Tatsu. I don't even remember how to do it, but I don't think there's like well-known medium Tatsu juggles at the moment. So having more utility, I mentioned it previously about having perhaps like the ODDP, so only like a 6-frame or 5-frame follow-up from medium Tatsu would be quite good. So you get it'll essentially make it like level, like it Tatsu. So you get medium DP, light DP, level 2 off the medium Tatsu in a juggle situation. I mean, that'd be a good change because then it would differentiate medium Tatsu as a combo tool to like it Tatsu as a combo tool as well. So I think that'd be a really good change personally. No for run Tatsu, so people are forced to do more interesting combos. Yeah, you do see run Tatsu a lot. The thing with run Tatsu is it puts them in the corner, doesn't do mad damage, puts them in the corner, and it's got very good Oki. That's why you see it so often. I actually use run DP a lot more because I like the Oki off run DP and I get a bit more damage. It doesn't put them in the corner. Muck Meat Bag, as always, provided critical feedback to this video concept. And they've said, revert his nerfs easy. You should have a job on the development team at Capcom. Eric Yu has said, just give back the Season 1 Ken in order to compete with the big boys. I mean, Ken needs some changes, but if you put him back to Season 1, people will be very unhappy. And, you know, even I would be unhappy. And the reason I say that is because I feel like this iteration of Ken right now, it's a little bit more interesting than Season 1 was. So having him back to Season 1, yes, he'd be super strong again. But I don't like that. I don't like when a character's just strong. Think of like Mai and Ryu, for example. They're just strong, but not very interesting. Actually, I think, you know, I'm going to get flamed for this, but I think Mai's actually a very interesting character. Outside of fans, she has a lot of cool stuff, but it just gets ignored because she's so broken. But it'd be the same thing with Ken. Ken would just be the brain dead, stupid Shoto that's really good, aka Ryu. I think I like the way he is now, but he just needs a bit more to make him more interesting that also pushes him back up. Or the opposite is bring the other characters, the top tiers, down a little bit. Jonathan said, I really hate that his level 3 super whiffs in various situations where other characters can just combo into their level 3 without that hustle. Proposed buff, level 3 super have extended forward and upward hitbox and cancelled into it from Jinrai Dragon Lash. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good change. I feel that if you did, trying to think. Maybe like if a heavy DP into level 3, like in that scenario, you always got not always, because there'd be scenarios where you wouldn't, but for the most part, you always get the level 3 animation. And that would be like a cool change. So again, going back to Like It Tatsu, I felt this whole video is about Like It Tatsu juggles. If you do Like It Tatsu, heavy DP, one hit into Super Art 3, that goes into the full animation. That would really buff the Like It Tatsu roots. But I actually like the non-animation version. I think it's like, if you get a good follow-up, the damage isn't bad, and it's quite fun to use it that way. But I do understand when whiffing is, so a good example I've seen is where you hit Jinrai kicks at range, grounded, and you go into level 3 and you get the juggle rather than the animation. That's a bit jarring. So yeah, I do like that. I think the extended forward and upward hitbox from a cancel to give you the animation isn't a bad idea. Preston has said, please give him a decent fireball because he sucks right now. It really does. And you know, his fireball in Street Fighter 5 was also pretty bad early on. It got better, so it had better, I don't want to say startup, but I think the recovery got better. I think Ken's recovery is like really bad on the fireballs now. If you use OD fireball in Street Fighter 6, you do recover a little quicker and you do notice it, but you can't be throwing OD fireballs just willy-nilly. Because of your dry bar, you'll just burn yourself out. Yeah, he needs, I'm trying to think of this a certain one, but yeah, he definitely needs less recovery, I feel. They are really bad. Like, they're already super slow as it is. They don't really control space very well, but then throwing them and then them jumping, it happens to me a lot. I'll engage with in a fireball wall. I'm like, okay, this person's going to stay grounded. I don't actually throw one. I throw one fireball and of course they jump, and your drive bar melts, your health bar melts, you're then in the corner. There's so many times where I've played a certain player and they've done that, and I've said, no more fireballs. I am not fireballing against you because you just want the easy jump in. You're trying to bait me into this false neutral that you're not wanting to play. You're going to jump. And it happened the other day against a Ken, and I was fuming. Legendary has said, could ease off the nut. Could ease off the nutsack with the scaling, allowing damage increase. I mean, that's a mad way to state, can we fix Ken's damage or improve it? But there you go, Capcom. Ease off the nutsack. So Subi Luna has said, I'd rather have Ken stay the same power-wise whilst other characters got adjusted to stay more or less at his level. To me, that way better than buffing everyone and making the game even more power-crept. I actually like if they nerfed the drive system as well and made characters have more unique strengths. Like Ken had an amazing heavy DP 3x5 and it was so sick. See people stretching what they could do with it. I want that sort of thing back. Man, this is making me want to cry because I'm thinking about Street Fighter 5 and I'm thinking about heavy DP. Yeah, let me pull myself together. So I like the idea of the drive system being less impactful. It's not going to happen though. Like the drive system is so heavily embedded and it's like in itself and as a core part of the game, it won't change. But I do like the focus on more character specific stuff. 100% like that. But I think Capcom have played it very safe. They've played it very safe and smart with Street Fighter 6 because they've wanted to, what's the word? They've wanted to make the game easy to approach, and by having like a global system, the drive system, it's enabled them to do that. But yeah, it's a common theme again about bringing top tiers down a bit to have Ken compete with them a bit more. I would like to see Ken changed a bit better in terms of damage and combo routing to bring him up a little bit. But I think Ken needs to go up a little bit in terms of his options and damage, and the rest need to come down. I keep doing this all through this video. So Master, always providing feedback on the channel, has said, make OD Tatsu bounce like Dragon Lash. We've had this in the comments before. I think this is a really cool concept, and it makes sense because when he does the OD Tatsu, they go up in the air and they bounce and hit the floor. So I think it would work. But again, it's how powerful it would be. I think if you were limited to maybe like a light punch DP to follow up, like a 5-frame only, then it would work. But I think if you give it 6-frame potential afterwards, so EXDP, ODDP, and level 2, that would make it really not busted, but it would really change his damage routes. That'd be very interesting. But a light punch DP would actually be pretty sick after that. And the final comment from Kataka Curtis is make his stand medium kick hit crouch components from further away and -4 on block. This, we're on the same page. This to me is one of the things I feel needs changing. The moment it's -5, and obviously, yes, if you misspace it, you should be punishable. But it's crazy how far out you can be where it gets punished by -5 moves. Like if you play the mirror, Ken being able to stand low kick, punish the stand medium kick at a far range is wild to me. And it makes the button is already not special cancelable. It only goes into the rest of the target combo. Yes, you can link it into other things on counter it and punish counter, but it's already a risky move to use, and it whiffs on crouches at range as well. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys giving feedback on the community post. Some good suggestions. And again, that's a common theme. I think damage is the main one, bringing them in line with the rest of the cast, giving him more combo potential, more source, more options out of combo routine. Fingers firmly crossed for this mini patch that's coming. We'll see. But thanks again, guys. A lot of fun making the video. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you next one. Take care.